How does a Raspberry Pi, the size of a lighter, become a retro 1980s, 70s basic computer? Well, you're about to find out on the Retro Coder. My first experience with a computer was a basic computer in the 80s. When a computer was turned on back then, it loaded instantly. There was no bloated operating system to load because it loaded into BASIC. BASIC was the operating system. One could start programming immediately. The computers back then were just begging to be programmed. That's what I loved about them, but also a nostalgic factor kicks in as well. Since my first experience with a computer was an Apple II, which is a basic computer, that was released by Apple in June of 1977. Now let's see how I recreated a basic computer the size of a stick of gum. Once I got my Raspberry Pi Zero, I went ahead and went to the Raspbian website to download Raspbian. I went with the Stretch Lite just because we don't need a GUI interface for a basic computer. Once it's installed, go ahead and go to Raspbian config, and I changed my password, logged into the network so that way I can update the computer itself, and then I went ahead and set up the SSH, which allows for me to access the Raspberry Pi from anywhere in the world that has internet connection. So it basically makes my Raspberry Pi headless. I can just plug it in, do not have to plug any monitors or anything to it. Once that's set up, you want to go ahead and go to ifconfig to figure out what the IP address is. So that way, again, through PuTTY, we can access the computer immediately. And then from there, I went ahead and wrote a program called basic.py, which is a Python program that will simulate BASIC. It has the command lines where you can load, save, and open programs. You can write programs. It basically simulates a computer from the 70s and 80s. And then from there, I went ahead and went into a file that allows me to have the basic Python program that I wrote load immediately once the terminal's loaded. And since I don't have a GUI interface, it loads as soon as we turn on the computer or as soon as I access it through PuTTY. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how it works. As soon as I log into the Raspberry Pi through PuTTY, it automatically loads into PyBasic. And if you type help at the command line, as you can see, it shows a list of all the system commands. One of them is arithmetic, which I'm doing right here, as you can see, and then the answer is 5.55555. But anyways, we can go ahead and write a short program called Hello World, which in the programming world is just a simple statement that displays Hello World. And then if you type in end, that will end the program, and then you can type run to run the program. And now let's go ahead and clear that out, and then we'll load a program that I already written. If you type in catalog, it shows all the programs that were saved. And let's go ahead and load the payment calculator. Once that's loaded, we'll go ahead and do an example here. There's a list of the program. Let's go ahead and put in 100,000, and then 3.5% interest and a 30-year loan. And then there's the results. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for watching. Sit, Phoebe, sit. Good cat.